take that image and figure out what the user is trying to do, where they're trying to touch, and eventually you send the operating system that message to say, this is a click right here, it's in this position. So we take the camera input in and we process that image, we find the locations where there are a lot of infrared light in that image and kind of group those regions together. We take configurations, which are different numbers that we figured out that work for our camera based on the camera's position itself, and we also save the previous data and keep loading it because we use data from previous frames to help with the image processing and also to help track touches and drags and stuff like that. And this software is all running on the same processor as the computer as it's going. And so the goal of this image processing software, we want to get it to go as fast as possible. And if we can get it to go if we can get one iteration of this to go at about 30 frames per second, then that's pretty good. If we can get it to go 100 frames per second, which is only 10 milliseconds, that's even better, but our camera actually wasn't that fast, so we didn't worry too much about that. So one of the tools we used was OpenCV, which is an open source library for the C++ programming language, which we can just download, and it just comes with a lot of functions that helped us to take those images from the camera, and instead of just reading raw data from the camera and having to do all that stuff ourselves and reinventing the wheel. It was a problem that lots of people saw before. We just took those libraries and used that for our own purposes, and that sped things up a lot. And then our touch calibration, that was we took our table and we made videos of it and tried touching the screen everywhere and analyzed those videos and said, okay, how bright does it have to be considered a touch, and how sharp, how much contrast would there be with the background, and then finally, how do we group those regions together? How do we decide what determines these three regions right here? Is that three regions or is it two really close together or what? And then you can see red is highlighted where it just decided that it was bright enough there, and there are circles in the middle that represent the middle of those touches. So if you were to touch, if the system got this image, it would say, okay, they're touching in 3 different locations. What does that mean? Does that mean they're scrolling, or is it an application that requires 3 touches? So the operating system we chose to use was Ubuntu Linux, and we chose it because it's both free and it's a lot more fun to work with within Windows, a lot easier because it's a lot easier to modify things, and we could use the X11 GUI library to actually override the mouse drivers and stuff. There are just a couple of easy functions to just take control of that because we're not using the mouse or keyboard or anything. We want to override that ourselves. And we could also write custom applications for the software that would take advantage of some of the features that we have that aren't on a typical computer, such as like you could make an air hockey game that has 2 different people controlling it at once, or you could have a paint application where you could just like spread your whole hand over it and it would recognize all of that as a touch. So that's why we chose Ubuntu Linux. And now Ben is going to talk about our